Hello, we are back to 999, part 51, I think. Yeah. Alright. So, let's just keep on at it. Yeah. My memory's back! I remember what happened before I got snatched! Seven's voice was filled with excitement. Shock and excitement had frozen Junpei in place along with Snake and Clover. Let me tell you what happened. Seven hastily drew a shaking hand across his mouth and began to speak. Like Snake said, Ace is Hongo. From the right, the other three are Musashido, Nijisaki, and Kubota. Musashido was the man with the cash. Nijisaki was Hongo's right-hand man, and Kubota developed the actual technical details of the experiment. Realization began to dawn on Junpei, along with a pressing question. How do you know all this? Come on, man, I told you. I finally got my memory back. No, that's not what I meant. I'm trying to ask you why you knew all this stuff in the first place, before you forgot it. Seven rubbed the scar on his chin. You really want to know? Of course. Me too. Snake was the only one who didn't have any sort of agreement. They looked to Junpei as if he was simply waiting to see where Seven's sudden recovery might take them. This is gonna take a while. It'll probably take me a good 3 days to tell you everything. Well, we don't have 3 days. Just give us the short version, all right? Short version, huh? The big man pulled off his hat and scratched his head. He made a face and put his hat back on. All right, fine. I'll give it a shot. No promises, though. Junpei and Clover nodded earnestly. Seven was a lone wolf detective who valued his own code over the rules, doing what he thought what was right over doing what you were told. That was why, on that fateful day, he'd gone with his gut and gone to the wharf at night on a slim lead. It was 9 years ago. The wharf had been dark and cold and foreboding. At the time, he'd been investigating a spate of kidnappings, all of them children. They all had one thing in common, a history of visits to a particular hospital. The hospital had been under the management of Cradle Pharmaceutical, and Seven's investigation had turned up evidence that Cradle had been involved in the kidnappings. After a little persuasion, he managed to finally get a real lead from someone inside Cradle Pharmaceutical. They told him that night, a ship was set to take the children from where they were being held to a large passenger liner docked offshore. Seven had, of course, gone to the wharf. Hidden in the shadows, he'd searched the harbor until at last he found the ship he was looking for. There was a number of human shapes moving near the ship. They were men in black suits. Many of them were carrying large bags. Bags? There was something about the way they moved as they were carried. There could be no mistake. There were human beings in those bags. He had moved before he even realized he was going to. Out of the shadows he came, his gun already in his hand. He heard the words, "Don't move," but they weren't his. He felt metal touch the back of his head. "Drop your gun," came the cold voice from behind him. "I could kill you right now. It would mean nothing at all. I need only tie an anchor to your feet, and I doubt anyone would see you for perhaps a week or so. Is that what you'd like? The fish here would be thankful for the meal." With the words, he felt the cold metal thing behind him press against his skull. Slowly, Seven crouched down and laid his gun on the ground. Then suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his neck. A needle. Was it some sort of drug? As he was thinking about that, Seven felt his face hit the cold concrete beneath him. He could feel the chill of it seeping into him. Damn it. Shit, my head hurts. Seven woke to find himself lying on a hard floor. He twisted his neck to peer around the room. Where am I? There was a small, shabby bed and a dirty sink. A toilet with no stall or privacy of any sort. As a cop, it was a place Seven had seen all too often. I'm in a cell, huh? Opposite the toilet was a door set into the wall. Seven struggled to his feet and hobbled towards it. He gave the door a good shove, then another, then tried pulling it. It didn't open. Well, that was about what he'd expected. It wasn't likely that someone would put him in a cell only to leave it unlocked. He threw himself against the door a few times, but to no avail. I knew it. Seven grumbled to himself as he moved back towards the bed. He sat down. He sat there for a very long time. Just how long, he wasn't sure. At last he began to nod off, and had nearly fallen asleep when he was roused by a distant voice. There's... it's 9! The voice was far away. Very far away. Seven couldn't understand what it was saying. Nonetheless, it was a voice, and a high one. Most likely a child. His eyes shot open. You're over... King? As he listened, he could pick out several different, distinct voices. There were at least 5 or 6, possibly more. Where were the voices coming from? He looked around the room, frantically. Perhaps the door? No, that wasn't it. What? Go. Oh. Was it coming from the left? Was it coming from under the bed? He grabbed the bed and flipped it with ease. There it was. There was a hole for the ventilation in the wall where the bed had been, covered with a metal grate. Seven lay down on his stomach and peered through the grate. He couldn't see anything. It was too dark. Now that he'd found it, however, there could be no doubt. This was the source of the voices. For a moment he was confused. Why were there children nearby? Then he remembered what the man from Cradle Pharmaceutical had told him. How a ship would take the kidnapped children from the wharf to a waiting passenger liner out in the ocean. Was Seven on that passenger liner? It didn't matter. What mattered was that he find a way to the children. Seven looked at the metal grate. Could he fit through that hole? He stuck his fingers through the grate and grabbed hold of it. Yeah! How you like that, you son of a bitch? The dark square sat open before him. Seven wiped the sweat from his forehead and crawled inside. The first section of the duct was small. Seven could do little more than wriggle along on his belly. After a time, however, it got a little larger, and even someone as large as Seven was able to crawl along on his hands and knees. He felt like he'd grown from an inchworm to an insect. Not much of an improvement, but it was better than nothing. He'd begun to wonder where the duct would take him, when there was a thunderous sound, like a massive metal door slamming shut. Then he heard a voice. Warning. Warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 18 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Repeat. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. The voice wasn't harsh, but something about the calm with which it spoke made it even more terrifying. Seven wasn't sure what it meant, but incinerator certainly didn't sound good. Then, almost as if to confirm his suspicions, he heard a chorus of young voices. No! Help me! Many of the voices were simply screaming in terror, mixing with one another to create a single horrifying howl. Damn it! What the hell is going on here? Seven began to crawl along the duct as fast as his arms and legs would carry him. The noise he made was tremendous, but he was long past carrying. A few moments later, a metal door appeared on the left side of the duct. Seven could hear the screams of the children from the other side of it. This was it. He grabbed hold of the handle and threw the door open. The old metal gave way easily before his onslaught. What the hell is this place? The room he was looking out into had a dome for a ceiling and 9 equally sized walls. At the top of the dome was an upside-down funnel. It looked almost like a chimney. Then he looked down. There they were. The children he'd been looking for. They stared up at Seven, their cries silenced, for the moment, by surprise and fear. Whether they were scared of the room or him, Seven couldn't tell. It was certainly possible that they were frightened of both. Not that I could blame them for running into a muddle like this when they were already scared shitless. He permitted himself a short snort of laugh, then turned to the children again. Don't worry, kids. I'm not your enemy. I'm one of the good guys. Not a single one of them moved, except for one. He was a boy, slightly older than the others, in a private school uniform. Who the hell are you? As he spoke, he took a tentative step forward and gave Seven a suspicious look. I'm a detective. I'm here to rescue you. The moment the words were out of his mouth, he could see the children relax. How are you going to help us? The boy in the uniform asked. Where's the exit? Seven responded. There isn't one. The door we came through won't open, and the door over there. He cut himself off, considered something, and then continued. Anyway, there's no point. We can't all get out of here. If we don't get out of here, we're going to burn to death. Burn to death? Can't you hear it? The voice said the incinerator's going to start up soon. It just sounds really fucking weird when I try to do that. Like, Jersey / black, whatever. I know it sounds racist and offensive. I don't particularly care. I can't think of the technical word. Anyway. It sounds funny with that accent in a trying to be younger voice. The voice spoke again. Automatic incineration will take place in 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Or 15 minutes. They only had 15 minutes. Seven looked back down at the children. It was a good 20-30 feet to the floor. There was no way he could pull the children up. That was when he had an idea. Wait right there. I'm going to be right back. What? Where is he going? Are you just going to leave us here? Seven did his best to smile, what he felt was a reassuring smile. Don't worry, all right? I'll be back, I promise. So just stay calm and wait right there, got it? He didn't wait to hear them respond. There wasn't time. He ran as fast as a man could run on his hands and knees. Before long, he was back in his cell. He was back where he had started, but he had a plan. There was something there that he needed. As soon as he was finished, he dove back into the duct and took off towards the incinerator. Sorry to keep you waiting, guys. Leaning out of the door in the duct, Seven lowered the rope he'd brought to the floor of the incinerator. Back in the cell, he'd torn the bed sheets into strips and tied them together to make a rope. Like Seven himself, it wasn't very attractive, but it got the job done. All right, just tie that around yourself, okay? I'll pull you up one at a time. Right! Huh? Wait a sec. That was when he noticed. There were more of you before. Where'd the rest of you go? The boy in the uniform answered. I let them go on ahead. We opened the 9 door and they left. What? You're telling me you opened that door? That's what I said. And what the hell are you doing here? We couldn't go with them. Why not? Look, the only people who could go through the numbered door... Automatic incineration will take place in 5 minutes. The voice reverberated against the walls of the room. Look, that can wait, all right? Just get us out of here. Right. Seven grabbed a hold of the rope. First up was a girl with a ponytail. Next was the girl with the red necktie, followed by a boy in a jacket who said he'd climb up on his own. Last up was the boy in the uniform. Like the boy in the jacket, he climbed up the rope himself. He looked scrawny from above, but his looks belied his impressive strength. He scaled the rope quickly, but as he was almost to Seven, they heard the sound of someone knocking. All eyes turned to the door. Cut into it was a thick square window. On the other side, they could see a furious face. God damn it, what's going on here? Why is the room empty? Where the hell are those fucking kids? The door opened, and a man stepped in, looking half mad with fury. Seven recognized his face. He'd seen him many times in photos during his investigation. The man's name was Gentaro Hongo, the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceutical. Hongo saw the boy hanging from the rope. Arrgh! He roared like an animal and lunged for the rope. Hurry! I know! The boy in the uniform resumed to scramble up the rope. You son of a bitch! Get back down here, you little shit! He was 15 feet away. 10. The moment he came within arm's reach, Seven grabbed the boy in the uniform. With a jerk, he tossed it into the duct behind him. Yeah! No! Hongo had lost any semblance of control. His face no longer looked human. It was twisted into something terrifying, the visage of a devil or a ferocious monster. Seven quickly reeled in the rope, leaving a furious Hongo on the floor room, and crawled back into the duct. You fucking bastard! You won't get away with this! How dare you compromise the experiment! What experiment? Seven wondered. Automatic incineration will take place in 1 minute. Hey, old man, what the hell are you doing? Hurry up! It was the boy in the uniform. Seven tossed Hongo a taunting salute and pulled the door closed. I'm not sure if the boy in the uniform is Santa or Snake. It's probably Snake. There was no point going back to Seven's cell, so they continued back down the duct in the other direction. After 30 feet or so, another duct met theirs, heading down. They nodded at one another and then turned and slid down the duct. A short time later, they crawled out of the duct to find themselves in a narrow hallway. There was a door on each side of it. The one on the left was a normal double door, but the one on the right was a familiar thick metal door with black and yellow stripes and a device next to it on the wall. On the door was a plate that read incinerator. Then, that's where we were? Yeah. Hongo might still be there. Looks like it's been shut off, though. Wait, what? If he's still in there? Yeah, that's not good. Seven grunted. Fine, the other door. Go through the other door. Hurry! The children began to run, with Seven following close behind them. My throat is really fucking starting to kill having to do this voice like through this entire thing. But whatever. On the other side of the door was a large spiral staircase. Run! Seven shouted. They didn't need to be told twice. Up and up and up they went. Their feet pounded against the steps, and their arms churned the air. Round and round and round they went, like a human tornado. The stairway kept going. Oh, nope, that's Snake right there. The stairway kept going. They'd passed a couple of rooms that looked to be dance halls when the boy in the uniform spoke. Something's up! Akane's not catching up to us. Akane? My kid's sister. The girl with the red necktie. Akane? That was strange. Seven didn't remember seeing that name in the list of children who'd gone missing. Hey! Hey! Akane! He cupped his hand around his mouth and yelled. There was no response. Maybe we outran her. Suddenly the boy in uniform stopped short. Seven stopped too, as the boy in the jacket and the ponytailed girl. As did they. When did we do that? Well, we passed a couple of big rooms on the way here. Maybe she took a rest in one of them? No, that's impossible. Sorry, Sorry, Grandpa, you keep going. I gotta look for her downstairs. He turned to go. Hey! Kid, wait! God damn it, I said wait! The boy didn't even seem to hear him. Fuck! Seven spun around and yelled at the boy in jacket and the girl with the ponytail. I'm going after him! You two keep going, alright? You got it? The girl nodded and began to run up the stairs. The boy, however... I'm going with you! Seven didn't have time to argue. Instead, he simply nodded and took off down the stairs. The boy in the jacket followed. They ran all the way to the bottom floor, calling for her. Akane was nowhere to be found. God damn it! Where the hell did she go? The boy in uniform couldn't hide his... God, I can't read these voices. Help me! Somebody help me! It was a girl's voice. Akane! The boy in the uniform threw open the door and leapt into the hallway that faced the incinerator. Seven and the boy in the jacket followed. Seven couldn't believe what he saw. Hongo had grabbed Akane by the arm and was doing his utmost to force her into the incinerator. Come on, goddammit, move! No, I don't want to go! Let me go! Please, let go of me! She'd planted her feet squarely on the floor and was doing her best to get away, but Hongo was much larger than she was. She wasn't going to win. Akane! The boy in the uniform shouted. He roared with anger and charged towards Hongo. You came back! Ha! You're too late, idiot! Hongo lifted Akane bodily from her feet and threw her struggling into the incinerator. Ah! Before Seven or the boy in the uniform could react, Hongo leapt through the door after her. They saw him land inside. And then the door slammed shut, with the finality of a great steel guillotine. The three of them ran to the door. They pulled and strained, trying desperately to get it to open. Fuck! It's no use! The goddamn thing won't move an inch! The boy in the uniform cried out and began to slam his fists against the door. He hit it with such force Seven feared his knuckles would shatter from the impact. Akane! Akane, are you okay? Her voice was muffled by the door, but the sheer terror in it was unmistakable. What should I do? What should I do? I think I'm trapped in here. Where's Hongo? He went out the other door. What? Warning. Warning. Emergency incinerator command has been acknowledged. All automatic incineration will take place in 18 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Repeat. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Are you fucking kidding me? Seven was at a loss. It's the same damn thing. Are you in there? Akani's voice sounded close to tears. Yeah, we're here. Just hang on, all right? We're gonna figure out a way to save you. If she could have seen the bloodless face of the boy in the uniform, his words would have seemed like a little more than a sick joke. Automatic incineration will take place in 17 minutes. Please! Please help me! I'm really scared! I don't want to die! Please! I don't want to die! I don't want to die! It's gonna be alright! I'll figure something out, I promise! I promise, okay? You hear me? I promise! They could hear her muffled sobs from the other side of the door. The boy in the uniform tightened his fists. His knuckles were a bloodless white. Seven could tell that he was holding back tears of his own. It was silent. All they could hear was the creaking of the boat as it shifted in the water. They waited and waited, but Seven didn't continue. What happened then? Junpei couldn't wait any longer. He had to know. Seven looked at the floor. Come on, man. Put yourself in my shoes. It doesn't end good. You think I want to remember that? Then, yeah. Shit, if I'd known it was gonna be like this. I almost wish I hadn't remembered. Seven shook his head, but there was something Junpei had to know. Hey, are you sure? Huh? Look, I don't want to ask this either, but there's something I don't get. So, if you could just tell me, did that girl Akane really... Seven stared straight ahead, nothing. Yeah, I'm sure. There wasn't anything we could do. After a while, the countdown ended, and we heard something burning. Even after the fire stopped, they couldn't move. Seven and the boy in the jacket simply stood where they were, frozen. The boy in the uniform collapsed, falling to the floor in a jumble of limbs like a puppet whose strings had been cut. A few more minutes passed. The door opened. The boy in the uniform ran in, stumbling over his own feet. Seven and the boy in the jacket followed, still too numb to speak. The air in the incinerator was hot. Every breath made Seven's lungs feel like they were on fire. The air shimmered with heat, and in the middle of the room, beneath the waves of heat, there it lay. The boy in the uniform walked towards it, his legs shaking violently. Seven couldn't see his face, but his body looked somehow empty. Finally, he reached it. The boy collapsed to his knees, his legs no longer able to support him. Junpei felt a cold lump form in the pit of his stomach. A feeling of sickening anticipation washed over him. He could feel his body shivering. He desperately did not want to know the answer he feared he knew already, but he had to ask. He had to know for sure. Can I ask you one more thing? What? The girl, Akane, what was her last name? What does it matter to you? Just tell me, okay? Please. Seven looked at Junpei curiously, and ran his tongue quickly over his dry lips. Kuroshiki. Her name was Akane Kuroshiki. Something inside of Junpei stopped. He had no more words left. He had no more Junpei left. He was just a shell of flesh and bone. Seven turned to Snake.
You were there that day, weren't you? The tall kid in the jacket? That was you, wasn't it?
Yes, I was. You are correct, Detective. Junpei's mind was blank, withdrawn from the world. Somewhere far away, he could hear Seven and Snake talking. Don't misunderstand me. I told you before how Zero threatened me. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't say anything about what happened 9 years ago.
So you're saying you're not working for Zero, right?
Of course not.
Clover? What about you?
Hey, come on. You really think I'm working with Zero? I told you before, you idiot, I was in Nevada in Building Q. I did hear that a detective rescued the kids on the boat, but I didn't know it was you. Her surprise seemed to be genuine. Seven regarded Clover for a moment and rubbed his chin thoughtfully.
Well, I guess I believe you.
Clover nodded.
Alright, let me ask you another question.
He stuck his hands into his pocket and took a few steps. Then he stopped and turned to face them again.
Santa's real name is Aoi Kurashiki. He's Akane's brother. You know that?
No, I didn't. Did you? Well, yes, I know Aoi Kurashiki was her brother. But I didn't know he was Santa, at least not from the beginning. 9 years ago, he was in the middle of puberty. His voice is entirely different now. I'm ashamed to say that even my exceptional hearing wasn't able to make that connection. As such, I had no reason to think that Santa was Aoi.
When did you figure it out?
A short time ago, Clover told me that Santa might have been one of the subjects of the initial experiment. When she told me that, I had a feeling. Santa is Aoi? Akane Kurashiki, Jun's brother? That spark caught flame in Junpei's leaden mind, and the fog began to clear. Like an engine beginning to turn, images and thoughts began to coalesce in his mind, coming faster and faster, forming bigger images, bigger thoughts. Junpei blinked. He was back. There's still a lot we don't know. I mean, like, a lot. But there is one thing I think we can say we know.
What's that?
The body we found in the shower room had to be Nijisaki dressed up to look like Snake.
What?
Come on, man. What kind of a detective are you? You didn't figure that out already?
Hey, go easy on me, man.
I just got my memory back, alright? Cut me some slack. Well, if he is, the 3 murders make sense then, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. Murder. Kubota blew himself up, but that was murder too.
So why did these murders take place? If Junpei is correct, and the body in the shower room was Nijisaki, that means all of the people who were murdered were involved with the creation of the Nonary Project. Kubota, the person who conducted the actual experiments. Nijisaki, Hongo's assistant. Musashido, the man who financed the project. You mean this was all just revenge? Santa Zero. He's getting revenge for the death of his sister. No, I don't think Santa actually murdered anyone. In fact, Junpei didn't think he knew. He couldn't explain why or how, but he had no doubt that Santa had killed no one. Perhaps the madness of the last several hours was finally driving him insane, but Junpei had ceased to be surprised at the sudden knowledge and had even begun to accept it. If I'm right, then it's not hard to figure out who the next victim's gonna be, is it? I'm pretty sure I don't have to tell you. Snake, Clover, and Seven all nodded. The next target will be Gentaro Hongo, the person who planned the Nonary Project.
In other words, Ace.
Let's stop that episode there, because we're getting pretty big on this episode. I mean, fuck, most of it was just Seven's story, which, while amazing, yeah. Anyway. Alright. Till next time, peace a Rooney.